I used to spend about $25,000 a month on things I genuinely cannot remember buying. Clothes I never wore, subscriptions I forgot I had, Amazon packages that sat unopened in the mailroom for days. One afternoon I sat down and added it all up, and I just stared at that number and I thought, what do I actually have to show for any of this? That was the moment everything changed. I know that sounds backwards, but the truth is, when money was easy to spend, I never respected it. I treated every paycheck like it was already gone before it arrived. I had this constant background noise in my life, always wanting the next thing, always feeling like I was one purchase away from feeling satisfied, and the satisfaction never came. It never does. When I committed to a no-spend year, meaning no new clothes, no eating out, no random online shopping, nothing that wasn't food, bills, or an actual need, something shifted in me very quickly. Money stopped being something that flowed through my hands and started being something I was actually in control of. For the first time in my adult life, I felt like I was making intentional choices instead of just reacting to every ad, every sale, every "you might also like this." And the number I saved by the end of that first year genuinely shocked me. It wasn't just a little extra. It was enough to pay off a debt that had been following me around for 3 years. That moment, opening my banking app and seeing a zero balance on something that used to keep me up at night, that was more satisfying than any purchase I had ever made. Shopping had become completely automatic for me. I wasn't even enjoying it. I would open my phone, go straight to an app, and start browsing without even deciding to do it. It was like a reflex. Something to do when I was bored, anxious, tired, or even happy. In the first few weeks of my no-spend year, stopping that habit felt almost impossible. I would catch myself opening apps and closing them. I unfollowed hundreds of accounts on Instagram and TikTok, influencers, brand pages, anyone whose entire purpose was to show me something I should want. And that was actually the turning point. Because once I stopped being fed a constant stream of things to desire, the desire itself started to fade. After about 2 months, I realized I hadn't thought about shopping in days. The craving just quietly disappeared. I didn't fight it, I just stopped feeding it. What I didn't expect was the amount of time that freed up. I genuinely did not realize how many hours a week I was spending browsing on my phone in bed, during lunch, in any idle moment. When I stopped, I suddenly had this time back, and at first I didn't even know what to do with it. That discomfort was telling. It made me realize the shopping hadn't just been about things, it had been filling a silence I hadn't learned to sit with yet. Here is something nobody talks about. When you step back from consumerism, you start to see it clearly for the first time. Every app, every video, every honest review, the entire machine is designed to make you feel like what you have is not enough. Your phone is not new enough. Your kitchen is not aesthetic enough. Your wardrobe is not current enough. You are not enough. And I had been swimming in that water for so long, I thought it was just how I naturally felt. When I stopped consuming that content, I stopped feeling inadequate. Just like that. The insecurity that I had been trying to fix with purchases, that insecurity was being created by the very thing I was buying from. Realizing that wasn't devastating. It was one of the most freeing moments of my life. This is the part that surprised me most. I didn't become boring. My life didn't become empty. It became fuller than it had ever been, just in ways I hadn't expected. I started cooking seriously for the first time. Not just making food, but actually exploring recipes, learning techniques, treating a meal at home like an experience. My kitchen became one of my favorite places. I started going to the library. I know that sounds small, but I had not walked into a library in years. And I fell in love with it, the silence, the endless books on topics I never would have thought to explore, the complete absence of anyone trying to sell me something. I started walking more. Long walks with no destination, no podcast, just being outside. Nature became my reset button. It costs nothing, and it gives everything back. When I stopped measuring my own worth by what I owned, I stopped measuring other people that way too. I used to notice what people wore, what car they drove, what their house looked like. Not in a judgmental way, I thought, but it was always there in the background. A constant, unconscious ranking. Once I shed that from my own life, it disappeared completely. What I began to notice instead was the person in front of me, their energy, their humor, their story. The conversations I started having were deeper and more real because I wasn't performing anything and I wasn't looking for anyone to perform for me. Some friendships that had always felt slightly hollow fell away naturally, and new connections formed, people who were living intentionally, people who were interested in ideas over things. That shift in my relationships was something I never anticipated when I started this. I also started paying attention to what I already owned. Really paying attention. I found clothes in my own closet I had completely forgotten about. Books I had bought and never opened. A camera I had stopped using. Rediscovering things I already had felt oddly like shopping, but for free. And without the guilt afterward, my home started to feel like enough. More than enough. Before my no-spend year, I thought I needed a very specific set of conditions to be comfortable. A certain kind of home, a certain kind of routine, certain conveniences I treated as non-negotiable. Stripping all of that back taught me that I am far more resilient and flexible than I ever gave myself credit for. I learned to work with what I have. I learned to be creative with constraints. I learned that most of what I called a need was actually just a preference I had never questioned. That adaptability has carried over into every area of my life. I handle uncertainty better. I stress less about money because I know exactly how little I actually need. And I make decisions with a clarity I didn't have before because I'm not clouded by wanting things anymore. I want to be clear about something. I am not telling you to own nothing or live without comfort. I am telling you that for me, the year I stopped spending money on things I didn't need was the year I started building a life I actually wanted. The savings were real, but what I didn't expect was everything else, the calm, the clarity, the creativity, the connections, the sense that I am finally living on my own terms and not on the terms of every algorithm and advertiser competing for my attention. If any part of this resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And if you're thinking about trying a no-spend challenge of your own, even just 30 days, I genuinely think it might surprise you. Thanks so much for watching. Take care of yourself.